always invariable, and so that which is invariable is always that it never falls off. So that which doesn't falls off is always true. So like that, this I is always there, and so therefore it is Sat, and it is also Chit because I am conscious. This I is always of the nature of consciousness. So Sat and Chit, both of them, they are the defining characteristics of the Atma. They are the defining characteristics of the Atma. They are not adjectives, but that is the Swarupa of the Atma. Okay? There is Swarupa and there is Guna. Suppose if you say, the cloth, the cloth has got this color. Okay? The cloth has got one color, that color is the Guna. But cloth is what, the nature of the cloth is what, that because of which the cloth is actually the fabric. The fabric is there, cloth is there. So like that, the fabric is the actual truth. Fabric is the nature of the cloth. Cotton is the nature of the cloth. Cotton is the nature of the cloth. But the color is what? Color is Gunam. So like that, you can have a man. You can have a man who is dark complexion, who is short or who is tall. This short and dark complexion and fat and lean, these are all gunas. Okay, this is not the nature of the Atma. What is the nature of the Atma? The nature of the Atma is that I am always there. There is no time when the I is not there. There is no time when the I is gone off, when the I is dislodged. No, it is never dislodged, it is always there. I am there, therefore childhood is there. I am there, therefore youth is there. I am there, therefore middle age is there. I am there, therefore old age is there. I am there, therefore the enjoyer is there. Experiencer, enjoyer is there. I am there, therefore the doer is there. I am there, therefore doer is there. When an action is being done, I am there. When something is being enjoyed, I am there. The experience is there. Experiencer is there. Experiencer is always there. Experience is there. Experiencer is there. Experience is there. Experiencer is there. Okay? Experiencer is always there. The job to be done is there. I am the doer. Doer is there. I am there. There is no time when I is displaced. So therefore, I is always Sat, and I always happens to be, this I also happens to be consciousness. So therefore, Sat and Chit, consciousness and existence. Sat is existence, consciousness is Chit. These are always there. I am always of the nature of Sat and Chit. So therefore, and there is no time when the I falls off. And that is what the Lord tells. And that is why he opens the statement with this, he opens the teaching with this statement, Ashochan. Ashochan means that which does not deserve to be grieved upon. That which deserves no grief is this Atma. That's the only thing in this world which does not deserve grief. Everything else is different. Atma is the only thing which never goes off. And so therefore, there need not be any grief for the sake of the Atma. I am always there. So he tells Arjuna, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, don't think that these people are not going to be there afterwards. There was never a time when they were not there. There will never be a time when these people will not be there. So he says, Natvam neme janadipaha. Natvam, neither you nor this janadipaha, nor all these kings, nor all these chieftains, nor all these leaders. They are always, they are never, there is never a time when you are not there, or they are not there. They are always there. Why? Because your essential nature is Sat and your essential nature is Chit. So therefore, Sat and Chit, they are never decimated. Atma is never decimated. Atma can never be negated. So therefore, now it opens a new line of thought for me, who had concluded myself to be a mortal. I had concluded myself to be a mortal, and now today, another thing, another new facet has presented itself before me. A fact has been presented before me. The fact is that I is always there. So I had thought that I am a mortal. Now I understand that I am not a mortal. Before this body came, also I was there. body is given to me. Why it is given to me? Because I am there. If I am there, therefore the body is given to me. I was there in some other form, and that form I had to leave away. That form I had to give up because it was too old, or because it was because it could not. It was no longer useful for me, and so therefore I had to give up that form. And when that form was given up, a next form is given to me. I am always there. So this goes on always. Before that, that earlier form was available. Before that, it was given to me. Before that, I was in some other form, the third form. Before that, I was in another form, the fourth form. Like that, I was always been in some form. And each time I have been presented with a body. So therefore, there is no death for I, the Atma. There is no death for you. There is only death for the body. So Atma is always of the nature of Sat. Atma is always of the nature of Chit. Then the next question will come, if I am always there, that's okay, fine, now I accept it. That's I am Sat Atma, I am Chit Atma, that's fine, accepted. But I am sad, sir. Why is it that I am sad? So for that, the Lord further tells that you are not only Sat, not only Chit, the Sat and Chit is also Ananda Swarupa. Your Swarupa, your own Swarupa, your own essential nature is that of Ananda. Why? Because nobody in this Jagat likes to be unhappy. Whether you are an African, whether you are an Indian, whether you are a Japanese, whether you are an American, whether you are an Aboriginal, whether you are a city-bred guy, whether you are a villager, whether you are a farmer, whatever you are, you always like to be happy. Everybody in this Jagat likes to be happy. And nobody repels happiness. Nobody tries to eliminate happiness. When they are happy, they like to be happy. They don't like to get rid of that happiness. On the other hand, when sadness comes, there is always an overpowering urge in you to get rid of that sadness. I don't want to be sad. When sadness comes, sorrow comes, I want to get rid of it. But when happiness comes, nobody gets rid of it. That itself shows that your essential nature is that of Ananda, your happiness. Why is it that I'm not always happy? The reason I'm not always happy is because I have a mind. I have a conscious mind. And that conscious mind has got a special capacity. The conscious mind has got a special capacity because I look around, and then when I look around, my eyes go on so many things, so many people, and there are some people who are better off than me, and I look at them, and then I feel, well, I'm not so good. So the mind is a self-conscious mind. Human being possesses a self-conscious mind that becomes aware of other people, that becomes aware of the surroundings, that becomes aware of everything, and then feels that I ought to have been better. I ought to have been in different circumstances. I ought to have been in some other surroundings. The neighbor's lawn is always green, they say. The neighbor's lawn is always green. So when I go there and stay for some time, then what will happen? I'll get bored with it. Then I want another lawn. Then again, I'll look at other neighbors and their lawn I find greener, and then I want to go there. So there is always, whatever the other people have, that always seems to be better than what I have. That is because the human mind is a self-conscious mind, and it is also capable of making comparisons. It sees other things, and then wishes that that thing was with me. The mind is like that. And so therefore, the mind is always a demanding mind. Mind is always, the self-conscious mind always looks around itself, compares itself to others, compares the present situation to other situations, compares the body with other people's body, compares everything. All the time it compares, and then when it compares, it feels that, oh, I wish I was like that. Oh, I wish I was like this. So therefore, the mind is something which is self-conscious, and it always presents demands before me. I wish I was like that. I want this thing. If this is there, I'll be happy. Then when you get that particular object for that mind, it is not happy all the time. For a short time it is quiet. Then it wants another thing. Then it wants another thing. Then it wants another thing. This is like the Shruti. This is like the Shruti which plays bass pitch. The bass pitch is there. The bass pitch is being played by the musical by the tanpura, and the singer sings. The singer who keeps singing, he has got a tanpura which gives him the bass pitch. That bass pitch is going on continuously. In fact, there are everywhere all over the country there are music conferences going on. Here also there is a music conference going on, which I didn't attend today because of this class. So that you will find two people behind the singer. There is a singer, or there is a flutist, or there is a violinist. Behind him there are two people or one person who's playing the tanpura. The tanpura has to continuously go on. The singer will present various ragas. Then when the raga is when one raga is over, or one song is over, then what happens? He keeps quiet. His song is over. He keeps quiet, and he gets ready. He braces himself for the next song. But by that time, this tanpura doesn't stop. It goes on. Like that, there is this I want. There is a Shruti in the mind which please keeps on playing. I want. I want. I want. I want. I want this thing. I want this education. I want to be qualified. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want this job. I want that job. Then we give him that job. Then suppose that new job is available. Then what happens? Then again he goes around, looks around, and he finds that he could have been better. Some other jobs could have been better for him. So he feels, I want to go there. He feels, I want this much money. He feels, I want this house. He feels, I want this land. So this goes on. That I want always goes on. No matter how much ever you keep satisfying the mind's desires, it keeps on endlessly presenting desires to you. I want. I want. I want. I want. This is called the demanding mind. Now, when you suppose if you give something to that demanding mind, when the mind is asking something and you give something to the demanding mind, you happen to earn that object which the mind was demanding. For a short time, the mind will be quiet. At that time, you will be happy. Then what happens? This makes you think that when you satisfy your desires, you will be happy. No, sir, it is not necessary. First of all, when the object comes to you, when you earn that object, for some time the mind is quiet. So we think that accomplishment of this desire has made me happy. No. After some time, what will happen is again the mind will get bored with this, and it will keep on, oh, I wish I had that other thing. I wish I had, because the mind keeps on looking around. And so things they come before the vision of the mind. The mind, has got such a big range that so many objects of desire, they present themselves and the mind catches them. And the mind wishes, I had this thing, I had that thing. So like that, all the time the mind keeps on demanding. Not only objects, it also demands various other things. Various other situations also it demands. I wish I was married. When I'm a bachelor, I wish I'm married. When I'm married, then I wish I was single. All these things keep on happening. So therefore, whatever all the demands, the demands fail to keep the mind quiet. The demands satisfied fail to keep the mind quiet for a long time. Within a very short time, the mind again presents more demands. Despite demanding, mind is there. And we think that if a particular desire is satisfied, I'll be happy. No. Even satisfaction of that desire does not make me happy. Sometimes no desires are satisfied and yet you become happy. Sometimes, you just see a joke, you see some slapstick, you see some comedy somewhere, some cartoon somewhere, and you break into a laughter. Like, recently we had this December 21st. December 21st, that's the shortest day. So, about the shortest day, this boy, Dennis the Menace, he comes out with a beautiful statement. So he asks his mother, he's a small kid, he asked his mother, it is 21st December it is, and then he asks her, Mommy, is it not the day today when it becomes late very early? What he means is it becomes dark quickly. The days are shorter. The shortest day. So he tells the shortest day and the longest night, or whatever. When he asks his mother, Mother, Mommy, is it not the day when it becomes late very early? See how he puts it. The very sentence makes you smile, if not laugh. There is humor. And when something humorous is seen, that time what happens is your demanding mind is quietened, and that self, which is of the nature of happiness, that self asserts itself. That you can see that self, you can experience the happiness of that self. Happy self is always full. Self is always full, fullness. So Sat and Chit and fullness. Sat means always there, existence. Chit means consciousness, and Ananda means fullness. Don't translate the word as bliss. Bliss is not the correct translation. Bliss is a wrong translation of this word. Okay? Bliss, because bliss can be any experiential joy also can be bliss. You have a good hot cup of paisam, it is good. You have a hot cup of milk with sweetened some special spiced milk, you have, that is bliss. You have something else, it is bliss. You have pani puri, it is bliss. What is that pani puri? Golgappa, or we call it here puchka. It's all the same. Puchka is the same as golgappa. Golgappa is the same as pani puri. It's a blissful thing to you. Just see when you go to the street, these people are all eating. Those people eating pani puri, you just see them. They are all totally unaware of the world. सब सारी दुनिया को भूल जाते हैं वो लोग. अब भूल कर वो उसमें पानी पूरी में वो लोग डूबे रहते हैं उसकी नशे में. That time nothing is there in before. That they are enjoying that. That is also blissful. So whatever you enjoy, whatever is engrossing, whatever captures your mind, whatever enthralls your mind, that at that particular moment we feel that this object has satisfied me, but no, that again it has not satisfied. There is no happiness in this pani puri. There is no happiness in any object for that matter. There is no happiness in any object. For a short time you enjoy this. The first laddu is very, very great. The second, okay, अच्छा है, ठीक है, good. Third one, oh, चलता ही है, अच्छा ही है, it's quite all right. The fourth one, then your enthusiasm becomes less. The enthusiasm to describe the greatness of that laddu reduces. The enthusiasm to describe the beauty of puchka also will reduce. If you have the first puchka will give you much greater joy as compared to the 15th puchka, 15th pani. So all that shows that the object doesn't joy every time. The first pani puri should give the same joy as the second, as the third, as the fourth, as the 15th, as the 20th, as the 50th. Every time it has to give the same joy. That does not happen. So that shows that no object has got joy. No object has got it. Now, there is no object called joy in the world at all. Our association with it, or our mind has placed a value on this. Our mind has got a value for that particular job, for that particular object. And when the object comes to me, I feel that I'm happy. I'm made happy. That's what now we think that the object has got happiness. No, sir. No object has got happiness. If any object has got happiness, then that object should be able to give the same joy to other people also. Some people don't like. Some people don't like this. Some people don't like that. What you like, I don't like. What I like, somebody else doesn't like. What he likes, I don't like. What she likes, he doesn't like. So there is always, one man's meat is another man's poison. There is a very famous expression in English. We use that. One man's meat is another man's poison. So therefore, that shows that there is no object called joy. What happens is, when that object, you enjoy that object which you like, at that time, for a short time, your demanding mind is quietened. For a very short time, the demanding mind is quietened. And when that demanding mind is quietened, then the self, which is of the nature of happiness, that brings forth, that actually makes joy manifest in your mind. Makes the joy manifest in your mind, and you think that the object has given you happiness. The desire has given me happiness. No. The desire might be satisfied. A long-standing desire is satisfied. At that time, something else happens. Suddenly, I get a phone call. Somebody is not well. Or somebody is gone. Then what happens? This joy is gone. Should give me the same joy? No, it doesn't. All the joy depends on the state of your mind. If the mind keeps presenting demands, or if the mind, the self-conscious mind, is looking around, and if it senses that there is something else which is taking, which is making you sad, then what will happen? That joy which you had procured, which you had successfully got, that joy is no longer able to keep the mind quiet. So this is called, we do this vichara. This is the Ananda vichara. This vichara, when you do, then you know that there is no object in the Jagat called Ananda. There is no object, there is no desire in the world called Ananda. There is nothing called Ananda. There is no object called Ananda. What happens is the self itself is of the nature of Ananda, and that you experience. That is why you like to be happy. Since the self is of the nature of Ananda, you always like to be happy. Since the nature of the self is not sorrow, therefore whenever sorrow comes, we want to get rid of it. Happiness, nobody wants to get rid of. If somebody has a bereavement, we go and console that person. Why? Why? Because we go and console him, because it is not proper to be unhappy. It is not proper to be unhappy. So therefore, we go and give our sympathies. He has lost something. He has lost somebody. His wife is not there, or his husband is not there, her husband is not there, or the father is not there. We go and sympathize with that person. Or he has lost money. We go and sympathize with him. Or he has lost his house. A big accident happened in his, an earthquake came in his, and all his property got destroyed. We go and sympathize with him. Why? Because it is not proper to be unhappy. This is a very undeniable rule. It is. This rule will never get deleted. Always there is this feeling, that sadness is not what I want. Everybody knows that. So therefore, if somebody is sad, then we go and cheer him up. Why? Because it is not proper to be sad. But suppose if somebody is happy, that time do we go and sympathize with him? I'm very sad that you are very happy. He'll hit me. I can't sympathize with anybody if he is happy, but I can always sympathize with somebody when he is sad, when he is sorrow, when he is in sorrow, because sorrow is not his nature. When he is in sorrow, sorrow is not nature. He dislikes that thing, and when we go and cheer him up, he feels happy. At least he feels that there is somebody to understand me. At least there is someone who accepts my problem. In fact, you know what? When you accept a person, you bring joy to him. Acceptance. In acceptance, there is always joy. For instance, what is love? Love is because he accepts me, she accepts me, or he accepts me. He accepts me with all my shortcomings, with all my disadvantages. I'm dark in complexion, but he accepts me. I'm short and I don't have a height. I'm not tall. He accepts me. He accepts me in whatever condition I am. He accepts me for what I am. Such a person brings out love in me. I start loving that person, and he loves me. Why two people love each other? Because of these people, because of this reason. Why two people? Everybody. We all love all those people who accept us. So all those, so the level of acceptance, when it is maximum, the friendship that is experienced also is maximum. The friendship is very strong. When does the friendship go away and slowly things about me start becoming unacceptable to him? Then we start running out from each other. when he no longer loves me or I no longer love him, I don't like him, he has got this problem, I don't like the way he does this, I don't like the way he does that. In fact, you know what, in the love marriages and all that, our Swamiji used to say, you know, that in an arranged marriage, something is happening in my computer. In an arranged marriage, there is acceptance because we don't see what the demerits or what disadvantage that person would have or what how the person is and all that. We decide that we are going to accept that person. In an arranged marriage, there is already acceptance. An attitude of acceptance is already there in you, and so you accept that person. But in a love marriage, what happens is only the best aspects of that person, they are presented to you when you relate to that person. So whenever you meet that person, the best aspects in that person are revealed to you. And even I also put up my best. I put up all my masks, the best mask, the best dress, the best everything of mine I put up and present myself, and that person likes. Then what happens? Then when we know each other more closely, then when we start living with each other, then what happens is my other aspects which I had hidden so far, those aspects also become clear to that person. Oh, good Lord, my God, I thought he was not like this. I thought he was better. And so therefore, what happens? Slowly, that love begins to wane. Why that love begins to wane? The love begins to wane because the acceptance is waning. The degree of acceptance that I had for him or her, that is slowly going down. I don't like the way he does this. I don't like the way he does that. I know one person, you know, that person said, I don't like the way my husband eats papad. He eats papad. He makes a lot of noise. And this girl doesn't like it. Why? Let him eat the way he wants. No, I don't like it. That's not the way to eat properly. So there are everything. No, we have made all these rules, you know, in our culture and all that. This is the way you should eat. This is the way you should sit. This is the way you should talk. This is the way you should dress. This is the way you should look. This is the way you should smile. All these things, you know, we have some set patterns in our mind. And who has set all these patterns? All the writers, all the prose writers, then literary writers. They have set all these things. All the artists. They have set these patterns. This is how you should look. This is how you should. This should be your style, or that should be your style, or whatever it is. But they have all these actors, you know, they have their own styles, and each of these actors have got certain characteristic styles, and then they have certain styles for other movements. So there are some people, you know, who have got every movie he'll have presented a different style. Every movie he or she will present a different style. So that style is always different. So we fall for those styles. This is how the style should be. That's what we think. This is how my boyfriend should be. This is how my girlfriend should be. But then what happens? Slowly I come to understand that this is not what she or he is, and my love for him wanes. My love for him begins to decrease. First I tell I love you, and then slowly I start telling I love you. Aisa ho jata hai. So therefore, the love also comes because of acceptance. Acceptance is there. When you have acceptance, then love will automatically come. The acceptance is ananda. In acceptance, there is ananda, and that ananda comes from the self. See, when you go to the bathroom, you are having a bath. Before having a bath, you take off all the clothes and you hang over. So that means what? That means all the fronts that you had placed before the eyes of the people. Actually, I wanted to look like this. I want to appear like this. All these appearances I've hung there. Now I'm totally on my own. When I open the shower, then when the water comes, when the cold water comes in summer, I'm very happy. Talk about this winter. Now winter is quite cold now. Here in Calcutta, it's a little bit cold now. And this time, one of the best things is hot water shower. Suppose you have a hot water shower or you have a hot water bath. When you pour the hot water, for a short while, you feel great. Excellent you feel. Then what happens? Then the wind somewhere comes, or the room is already cool, and the heat of this warm water which you pour down yourself just now, that disappears, that goes away, and then you feel, hey, chala gaya. Again you take water. Again you take water. Again you take water. Warm water. You want to enjoy. All this is all called experiential joy. Any experiential joy which comes from outside, that is only temporary. It is only lasts for a short time. This is called any experiential joy is described by the word bliss. 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 Atma is not bliss because Atma is always there. Atma is not an experience. You cannot experience the Atma. You are already experiencing yourself, sir. Atma cannot be experienced. Atma is always experienced. Anything that you experience is other than you. Whatever you experience is other than you. When you experience that object which is other than you, that is anatma. It is not Atma. It is not for the sake of the anatma that you love that. It is for the sake of the Atma that you love that object. It is not for the sake of the anatma that you love the object. There's an object. I love that very much. But then after some time, what happens? I get bored with it and it ceases to give me joy, the same amount of joy, and I get bored with it and I get rid of that object. Any object is lovable to me when I enjoy that thing. Suppose if I get bored, then that experience is no longer that shows that no object has got happiness. Where the happiness is in the self. When the demanding mind becomes quiet, at that time my own self, which is of the nature of happiness, that I experience and enjoy. So therefore, this I is of the nature of happiness. I is of the nature of fullness. I is of the nature of joy. I is always there. There is never a time when I will not be there. So therefore, I is always of the nature of happiness. I will not be decimated. I cannot be dislodged. I cannot be displaced. I is always conscious. That consciousness is this I is consciousness. I is existence. What type of consciousness? What type of existence? Existence in which time is, in which space is. So therefore, this I is always there. The I is the one which experiences all the experiences that come and go. I is always there. So therefore, there is no time when I is not there. I is timeless. Timelessness is described by the word nityam. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. Atma is ajaha. Ajaha means पैदा नहीं हुआ. तो पैदा नहीं हुआ इसलिए मरता नहीं है. कौन मरता है? जो पैदा होता है वो मरता है. तो पैदा नहीं होता वो नहीं मरता. Ajaha, nityaha. Nitya means timeless. Nitya does not mean long time. Eternal. Eternal does not mean long time. Eternal means timeless. Timelessness. In that timelessness, everything is, Atma is always timeless. There was never a time when Atma was not there. There was never a time when Atma will not be there. Atma is always there. Never. Now also Atma is there. And there will never be a time when Atma will not be there. I is of the nature of always being there, timeless. I am always conscious, timeless consciousness. That is my essential nature. The body is the form which I have. The body is the form which I have. The body is an instrument with which I relate to situations and people, with which I do various things. The body is what? The body is a bhoga ayatan, which we studied very clearly in Tattva. Body is called bhoga ayatan. Ayatan yani ghar, a counter of experience. It's the counter where all the experiences take place. If this counter is not there, experiences won't happen. You won't feel heat, you won't feel cold. You won't feel victory, you won't feel nothing you will feel. If this counter is not there. Counter is must be there. The place where all the enjoyment takes place is here. Then you need the instruments to enjoy. You need your sense organs. Eyes, ears, nose, taste, sense organ of taste, sense organ of touch, sense organ of smell, all these things you need. So with these things, you feel the world outside. These are all instruments of experience. Eyes, nose, ears, They are all called bhoga sadhanam. Sharira is called, body is called bhoga ayatanam. Bhoga ayatanam. Ayatanam yani ghar. Then the sense organs are bhoga sadhanam. Sadhanam means by which all experiences can take place. Experiencing form and color, eyes. Experiencing sound and music and all that, ears. Experiencing the world of taste, tongue. Experiencing the world of smell, nose. Experiencing the world of warm and cold and all that, feeling, sense of touch. These five senses must be there. Only then you can relate to the world and experience the world. Then all these five senses are all controlled by the mind. Their activity is processed by the mind. The mind presents these things to you. So the mind is also an instrument which you have. Like the sense organs, you have the mind also you have. Body, the mind also comes in the category of bhoga sadhanam. In the mind, what is there? In the mind, you have got manas, you have got buddhi, you have got chitta, and you have got ahankara. These are the four aspects which we had seen very in great detail in Tattva. I'm again recapitulating all that idea. The mind is the faculty where manas is the faculty where all options are processed. Options are given. Mind gives you various options. What do I make for breakfast? Should I make idli or should I make upma? Then what are the options that are other options are? What career should I choose? Option. Should I go for an administrative job or should I go for a technical job? Should I go for a technical study or should I go for a study which is clerical or whatever? Which will give me a clerical job. What should I do? Options are presented always. So when all these options are presented, then you have to make a choice. Whom should I choose for the team? I have a team with which I'm going to play a match. 11 players I'm going to play. Now then what will happen? I will choose. The options are presented by the mind. The options are presented by the manas and the buddhi. The buddhi is the one that decides. No, this player is better. That player is better. These people, with these players, I can tick all the boxes. Like Virat Kohli says always. He's ticking away the boxes. So we have to tick the boxes. The ticking of the box can be done by the buddhi. Your buddhi does the ticking of the boxes. Buddhi is the nishchayatmika buddhi. It does nishchayam. Buddhi has got knowledge. So based on the knowledge, it does nishchayam. It determines what is right. What is the right option to choose? Which is the right choice? Yahi hai right choice. Who tells that? Buddhi tells that. Okay? Yahi hai right choice. The buddhi tells that. So then buddhi is the faculty of choosing. It has got the faculty of choosing. I mean, it has got the faculty of making the decisions. Then you have chittam. Chittam means another aspect of your mind, another aspect of your antakarana. And mind is called inner instrument, antakarana. Karana means instrument. Antah jo andar hai wo, that which is inside. Antakarana. So manas, buddhi, chitta and ahankara. These are all the four instruments that you have in your antakarana. Manas, buddhi, chitta, all the memories. The memories are all useful for you. So each time, each experience is registered as a memory, and that memory will make another time I had this bitter experience. I don't want that. Let me not have those things. So therefore, your memory in which all the experience is recorded, that memory will now come and aid you. So memory is something which is there, another faculty of your all knowledge also is there. That is also there in the buddhi. All the knowledge you can recall whenever you want. The knowledge of engineering, the knowledge of laws that you studied, the knowledge of medicine, the knowledge of anatomy, the knowledge of physiology, the knowledge of botany. All this knowledge, which is there. That knowledge will come to your help, and you can make choice. You can choose. So all the knowledge, that is all there in memories, it is there. So all these things you can choose. And then there is also one more aspect of your mind. We we saw now, mind has got manas, buddhi, chitta, and then ahankara. Ahankara is what? Ahankara is that aspect of your mind which owns up all the action that your sense organs did. My hand wrote something, I wrote this. My hand did this thing, I made that. My hands made the halwa, I made that halwa. I made this thing. I took this decision. Like that. I'm doing the driving. There is an aspect of your mind which owns up all the activity that your that your organs of action do. That is called ahankara. You are the one who has got a lot of knowledge, everything you have got. Then you also know your ignorance. The ignorance, I don't know French, I don't know German, I don't know accountancy, I don't know chemistry, I don't know anatomy. All these things also I know. I know that I've got ignorance of anatomy. I know that I've got ignorance of Russian. I know that I've got ignorance of Japanese. I know that I've got the ignorance of Chinese. So the ignorance also is known to me. Who am I? I'm just basically that consciousness which is Sat, which is always there and which is also of the nature of fullness. Because Sat and Chit, the Sat and Chit does not have any form. Because it does not have any form, therefore it is called Anantam. Jiska ant nahi hai, that which is formless, it has got no anta. If it has got anta, then it is got then it is not then it is not Anantam. It has got anta. If it ends, this is complete whole. WHOLE. WHOLE is what this consciousness and Sat is. So you are Sat, you are Chit, and you are the whole. That is why you like to be happy always. Your whole Anantam. Anantam is Anandam. So your Sat, Chit and Anandam. Sat, Chit, Ananda is your essential nature. And all the happiness that you experience in the world is because you are Satchidananda. From Satchidananda only all the Ananda comes. That object, it doesn't have any Ananda. If that object has got Ananda, then it should give Ananda to everybody. No, that doesn't happen. As I said, one man's meat is another man's poison. Every object does not give the same amount of joy to everybody. So that shows that no object has got joy. Where is that joy? That object, when I experience, at that time, my demanding mind becomes quiet and I experience my own joy. I experience my own joy, and so therefore this Sat Atma, all the time it is there. Chit Atma, all the time I am conscious. That Sat and Chit existence, consciousness is also fullness. From that fullness, all any happiness is enjoyed. So this object is able to quieten my mind and experience my own joy. This lady or this man is able to satisfy me. I experience all. This man accepts me. My mother accepts me. My father accepts me. I feel very happy. I love them. And then those people don't accept me. When they keep on chiding me, then I'm not happy. There are some people, who are the elderly people. Some people always want to dominate. And those dominating people, they never make me happy. Why? Because they don't accept me for our time. They want me always to be different from what I am. Let me be what I am. I say, I've got my own problem. Let me be what I am. No, you have to be like this. You have to listen to me. These are dominating people. There are some people, like that. The world is full of people like that, in fact. All dominating people. They are very demanding. They demand others to be this way or that way. When that demanding person is gone, then I feel okay. Thus, in some certain people's presence, I'm not happy. When that person, the mind which does not accept that person's presence, that mind feels it is a discomfort, and that when that discomfort is there, I cannot enjoy myself. When that discomfort goes away, then what happens? The mind is no longer presenting a problem. That fullness, which is my own essential nature, that is what I experience. So I is of the nature of Sat and Chit and Ananda. Okay, so when you know that, then what will happen? Then you will also understand that Sat Chit Ananda is the actual source of happiness. When you enjoy an object, what that object does? That object quietens my mind. then it gives me ananda. My own nature, which is of ananda, that ananda this object gives me. That's what I think. Object gives me ananda. That's what I think. Actually, what when I enjoy this object, my mind is quiet, and my own happiness I enjoy. What it does is it picks my pocket, it takes my ananda and gives it to me. It is like any object, any object which gives you happiness actually takes your own happiness and gives you back. It is like, a man, he picks your pocket and gives you a party. He picks your pocket, takes your money, and then he gives you a party in the hotel. He gives you a treat. And we think that, acha hai, treat acha hai. But I don't know that my own pocket was picked. Like that, this object, all these objects, they take my own joy and they give it back to me. And I think that these objects give me happiness. These objects don't give. Any object of desire is incapable of keeping me happy always. Any object of desire is incapable of keeping me happy always. There is no object of desire. There is no object called happiness. Object of desires are there, but there is no object called happiness. The object gives me my own happiness. So when you know that, then what happens at a particular time, when you clearly understand, when there's clarity with reference to my own essential nature, I'm always there. There is no time when I'm not there. I'm always of the nature of the knower, the experiencer, the knower. I'm always of the nature of consciousness. And also I'm of the nature of happiness. When I know this thing, I know that happiness actually comes from here. Happiness comes from Atma, I. It is not inside also. Happiness is not made inside. You cannot say happiness is inside. What makes happiness? Heart makes happiness. Stomach makes happiness. Lungs make happiness. Kidneys, liver, nothing. None of these objects makes happiness. So don't also get carried away by these statements which people make. They make happiness is inside you. Or inside kahan hai? Inside kuch nahi. Happiness is I. I is happiness. That I is neither inside nor outside. I is the nature of happiness. I have to discover that. So I is when you know that all the happiness that you experience comes from this I only. When you know that, then what will happen is slowly you will grow over the desires that you have for things. You will grow over the desires. See, when you are a young child, you are playing marbles, right? You're all playing marbles. Then what happened after a certain age? Then we grew over the desire of playing. Now we are no longer interested in marbles. I'm no longer interested. Then I get a cricket bat and a ball. Then I'm interested in cricket ball and bat. Then afterwards, then what happens? Then after some time, I grow over that also. I see other people playing, but I'm not playing. I'm not able to play, or I cannot play, or I'm tired of playing, or I feel that I'm bored of the game. So I grow over that also. Then I have other things, other objects. My job gives me happiness. Money gives me happiness. Like that, I think. I go after this, I go after that and all that. But then what happens? A stage comes when you grow over all these things. When you come to understand that no object in the world gives you happiness. When you come to understand that no desire fulfilled can make you happy. When you come to understand that you can be happy even without fulfillment, that time what happens is you grow over all the desires. That is the time when you become totally happy with yourself. This is also described in that third verse which we read. Prajahati yada kaman. Prajahati means when he gives up. In fact, it should translate it differently. You should say yada, when Atmani eva atmana tushtah san. Atmani, apne aap mein, in myself. Atmana tushtah, by my own self I am happy. In myself, in the self I am happy. By my own self. That means I am not depending on any object for happiness. The happiness comes from I. I don't depend on any object for happiness. When I revel in that self, Atmani, that self, Atmani, Atmana Tushtaha, by myself. In that self, by myself, I am becoming happy. I am happy. When I come to know that, every joy is because of this reason. Every joy that I experience is because of this reason. In myself, by myself, I become happy. By my own self, I become happy in the self, without any object. Because I is the source of all joy. When I know that, then what happens? I grow over all the desires and I slowly give up the objects of desire. Prajahati. Prajahati and give up. Jahati and chhod dena. I give up all those objects. Prajahati, permanently give up. I know that. I have with full understanding that this object doesn't have joy. I give up that object. I grow over all those desires. Like you grow over the playing of marbles. You grew over the playing of all those toys, chote toys you used to have. All those you grew over. When you become big, you grew over all that. When you grow over all the objects, because you know that this doesn't have joy. You grow over all of them. Like that, when you discover that this Atma is actually the source of all the joy, I am the one who is the source of all happiness, then you grow over all the objects of desire, and then you give up all of them. Prajahati. Prajahati yada, Prajahati kaman, sarvan kaman, sabhi desires, all the desires. Kaman means objects of desire. You give up all the objects of desire. When do you give up? When you are satisfied with yourself. You have to be satisfied with yourself. You have to know that this object Atma, you have to know that Ananda Atma comes from I. When you know that Atma, Ananda is the source of I, then you desire, then you can give up all the desires. Before that, you cannot give up desire. Suppose you think that you are dissatisfied and then you try to give up desires, then you will become a bigger beggar. Whoever begs, he thinks that he doesn't have. He doesn't know that the self gives joy. He thinks that I am unhappy. So when he is unhappy and you ask him to give up things, he is not going to be happy. He is going to become a bigger beggar. Everybody is a beggar, The richest man also is a beggar. He also wants something. आपको क्या चाहिए? आपको ये चाहिए. आपके क्या पैसा है? हाँ पैसा है. घर है? हाँ घर है. सब कुछ है. I've got money. I've got wealth. I've got this. Then what is that? I don't have a good wife. Or I don't have a happy son. I don't have a good son. Or I don't have a happy relationship. Everybody is angry with me. Or everybody is afraid of me. So there is some problem or the other with everybody. That problem is there for everybody. So no, being rich or being comfortable is not going to make me happy. There are a lot of people who are unhappy because they are uncomfortable. There are a lot of people who are unhappy because they are uncomfortable. But all these comforts added also, that happiness can continue. There are a lot of people who are comfortably unhappy. They've got all the comforts, but still they are unhappy. So when that happiness will come when you know that this Atma, I, is the source of all happiness. I don't need any object to make me happy. Without the need of any object, I can still be happy. If your mind is quiet, you will be happy. If you have known the art of silencing this demanding mind, if you have understood this art of design, of quietening the demanding mind, then you will know that the self is itself of the nature of happiness. That happiness is what it is called Ananda, and that when you know that you are that Ananda, then automatically you will give up all the objects of desire. Okay, my time is running out. So I will know that I am of the nature of Sat and Chit and Ananda. I will automatically grow over the desires. When will you grow over the desires? You will grow over the desires when you know that you are Sat, always there, Chit, always conscious, and all of the nature of fullness. Sat Chit Anandam. Sat Chit Anandam is existence, consciousness, fullness. Fullness is what you are. When you know that, then automatically your desire will start growing over the you'll start growing over the desire for objects and things and people and relationships and whatnot. Slowly you will grow over all that. You'll give up all that. हाँ ये है तो ठीक है, नहीं है तो भी ठीक है. वो है तो ठीक है, हाँ नहीं है तो भी ठीक है. If this is there, it's okay. If not there, then also it's okay. Then that's the time when you know that you don't depend on these objects or objects of desire for your happiness. When you don't depend on them, when you know that, then slowly, whether they are there or whether they are not there, it doesn't make any difference. Why does it happen so? Because Atma is of the nature of Sat, it is of the nature of Chit, and it is of the nature of Ananda. So the Lord, so therefore, since you are Sat and Chit and Ananda, therefore, there is no cause for any grief. Why should you grieve? I need not grieve at all. Why do I grieve? I grieve because I give my own reality to those objects and those problems and I give reality to that, and therefore I start grieving. When I know that these things are not the actual source of Ananda is I myself, then I need not grieve. I will always be there. There is no time when I will not be there. Oh Arjuna, there is no time that you will not be there. There is no time that Bhishma, Pitamaha and Drona will not be there. They will always be there. When you know all these things, then what happens? You are always there. When you know that you are the survivor. You have come in this body has been given to you. When this body goes away, you will survive. तुम तो बच के निकल जाओगे भैया, बच के निकल जाओगे. You will not die. तो ये जो बच के निकल जाने वाला है, who is he? He is someone different from the body. I have to know that. I'm someone different from the body. I wanted to touch on Ishvara also today, but time is running out, so I won't touch on that. I'll stop with this. The next class we'll take over that for discussion, where we'll discuss Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam. I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. But who made this world? There's a big world around there. Who made this body? Who made this big world? Because of who is running this whole world? Is there Bhagavan or is there no Bhagavan? Nobody sees Bhagavan. Good that also. It's good that you do it, because that Bhagavan whoever appears, no, he'll disappear also. He'll give you darshan and he'll disappear. He's in a tearing hurry to go away somewhere. I don't want that Bhagavan. I want a Bhagavan who's understanding and whom I will never lose sight of. I want to know that Bhagavan. I want to know such a Bhagavan whom I will never lose sight of. That is called Ishvara Darshanam. That Ishvara Darshanam the Lord gives us in the next shloka. Prajahati Yadakama. We'll see that in the next class. Thank you very much. I'll chant the prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Pranam Swami.
Hari Om Swami.
Hari Om. Today's class you can send me also. If you are sending it in the group, I'll collect it. Yeah.
Yes, Swami. I'll do that in 2
Hari
days
Om, Swami.
once I reach Kolkata.
Yeah, because I'll just go through these ideas if it's possible, and then make it more clear in the next class. Then we go to proceed for the next topic, Ishvara. So we have to talk about that. we have to have Ishvara Darshan in the next class. What the Lord's desire is. He says, by me everything is pervaded. So we need to register that. Okay. So thank you all today. Om Namah Shivaya.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om.
আবার বসে না আবার মুখটা উল্টাইছে আমার এবার তিনজন গাড়ছে